Hello everyone, man, I'm so excited to see what's going to happen tomorrow. This is either going to be a devastating moment tomorrow for a lot of people, or it's going to be a fantastic day. Either or, it's going to be a wild time, because listen, tomorrow the market's going to stay red after Nvidia reports quarterlies. That's obviously what I'm talking about. Or Nvidia's going to come out with spanking good quarterlies, and there's going to be trillions of dollars flooded back in the market, and it's going to go, okay, good, okay, we'll keep running here. So, we'll see what happens here, but I'm excited. Friends, how are you doing? I hope everyone's well. Obviously, it's the same old story here. The market is still selling down. And the thing, too, I was actually talking to someone today, a buddy who's like in and out of the market. We all have those friends, and God love them. But, they're trying to understand what's going on. They're like, did the AI, they've been hearing about the AI bubble, and they're like, did the AI bubble collapse? And it's like, no, we haven't hit that threshold yet. That's not what's happening. What's happening is there's been a bunch of drama in the market, and we've had banks, we've had a lot of people push on this, overvaluation of the market. And yes, no one can deny there's things that are crazy expensive in the market right now. The S&P 500 is sold down to this six zone, and this is still all-time highs compared to where we were a year ago. But right now, the Mag 7, besides Nvidia here, just came out with all their quarterlies. They were all fantastic. So, quarterly wise, what we just got through here with the Q3s, from the high tech, the Mag 7 here, to the banks, everything was honestly pretty good. There was more positives than there were negatives. What we have going on here is a usual situation meeting a dramatic situation, where we have, yes, overvaluations, a lot of whispers, gossip, negative comments going on. And two, the market always does this 2 days prior, before the release of Nvidia quarterlies, where it just sells down. It doesn't move, it sells off. People are afraid because Nvidia literally it's at the top. It is the king of the stock market right now, and if it doesn't do well, then the whole market goes like, well, we don't know what to do. If Nvidia doesn't release good quarterlies, what do we do? So the bears are looking for any slice of, they're not up to par, they're not making as many orders, they're not hitting as many orders, money's not what it should be. They're looking for anything like that. And of course, the bulls are going, of course they're going to hit. And Jensen here has been coming out and saying like, hey, we can't make chips fast enough. Our software's doing great. Everything's wonderful. So, in Jensen too is, Jensen was a lot of people. From Dan Ives to Tom Lee to a lot of big tech CEOs are saying like, we're going into, the third, fourth phase of where the market is going with tech. There is no AI bubble. So we're hearing both sides of the table here. It's definitely, there's a line in the sand right now, where you have the side over here going, everything's way too high, the valuation is off, the market's headed for a recession, the economy, everything. And then we have the side over here is like, we're still running, everything's going to be fine. We're going for 7,000 point S&P 500 by December. So, what do we do here? I think the main thing you do here is, no matter if you're buying stocks that are trading X over the amount what they should be, you're putting your money into good companies, and that's something you want to do. So companies that are going to continue to do well for you. Obviously, too, this week we're going to have, some inflation data come out. What's going on, job reports, all that kind of stuff. So this will give us more of an understanding and probably really help steer the boat of where the Feds are going to, which way they're going to go here in the beginning of December, if they're going to do a rate cut. So, friends, let that sink in. Tomorrow is the big day after market close. I'm not expecting anything to happen tomorrow in the market. I'm expecting more red. I'm expecting more sell-off until these quarterlies are released in the market. It's going to be interesting what this does. We'll talk about, I want to talk about Nvidia. I want to talk about Big Bear here. But one thing I do want to say is that, I get a lot of comments like, what do you pick in the Mag 7? What are your stocks that you're really looking forward to next year? Really, if I had to pick a handful of stocks that I'm really interested in, is obviously, Big Bear. That is my underdog right there. That is my, that is the dark horse right there that I'm watching right now. It's Big Bear. I want to see if Big Bear is going to continue to do what it's doing, capture deals. They just spent $250 million on this software they're pushing into. I think they're going to get more defense deals. I think they're going to get more airline deals. I think they're going to continue to do well here. I really do believe that. With that too, I'm really interested to see what a lot of the Mag 7 is going to do. How aggressive is Amazon going to get this year? Apple somewhat interests me, but, really, I think Apple's just kind of playing it safe right now, and they're just, kind of doing what they're doing. Really, when we talk about innovation, companies really taking leaps and bounds and that are going to find new avenues of revenue, it's obviously, I think it's going to be Amazon, it's going to be Meta, it's going to be Nvidia too. But Tesla is the one where I'm like, I'm so just on the technology part, just like on a geeky dork, comment here, I'm talking to myself about myself here. I want to see what Tesla's going to do. I'm so interested to see what this robotic market is going to look like to the market. When Tesla releases Optimus, when they release their new car that Elon's been giving hints about, flying, floating, whatever it's going to do here. Robotaxi. I mean, there's so much that we're going to unpack here this year with Tesla. It's wild to think of. So I'm very bullish on Tesla. If you're not, I'm sorry, but I'm we can all have different picks here, but I'm very bullish on Tesla. What's going to happen here in Palantir? I'm still very bullish on Palantir until Palantir starts to dwindle down here and not give us as aggressive quarterlies as it's been doing. Why am I going to sit here and beat it down? I think that's a crazy place to be. Palantir, even with the market having as much trouble as it is right now, these are still prices that are crazy aggressive high right now. I was watching somebody. It's really wild to see how many people are negative with Palantir. It's like Palantir has literally turned into this fighter that people want to see lose. They're like, this is like Tyson of the late 80s, where they're just like, all right already, just get knocked down. That is really Palantir right now. People are just like, they want this to lose so bad. But the thing is, it's not in eyesight right now. That's the thing that we can say bullish wise with Palantir. The bears, the bullish conversation right now on Palantir is that we know Q4 to round out the year here that will come out later on. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. And I definitely think there is a conversation to say, like, Palantir could get one or two more deals here to tack on to Q4 to where maybe they could come out with a 0.4, 0.5. That's really pushing it. But quarterly wise, obviously 1.5 billion, 1.4 billion. That's a possibility. I mean, I wouldn't say it couldn't happen because, the last three quarterlies, people are like, there's no way. I don't know why you would stand in front of a freight train that's going so fast as Palantir right now. It's not a smart move. So you may just look at Palantir right now as it's on sale, and it may not be this may be a Christmas sale. This is kind of the conversation for the whole market right now. We've been here before with this market. This isn't our first dramatic correction, sell-off, where we find ourselves with the market right now. We've had these moments before. And the last time Nvidia reported quarterlies, we were going through a very similar situation. Not this aggressive, but still, the markets ran to unbelievable highs. So, of course, it's going to take more sell-off. It's going to take more damage. The real thing of what we are experiencing right now is just it's fear. It's what's going to happen. What does it look like? And we don't know this. That's what you really got to think about. We as investors, from people that are on Wall Street to us that invest $5, $10, $1,000 a week in the market, we don't know what it looks like for Nvidia to release back quarterlies. Like, what does that look like? We haven't seen the reaction to the market with that. So that's kind of a scary place to be. Now, I personally don't think that's what we're going into. But that is a lot of what's going on right now. People are believing the fear machine out there. So let's talk about Nvidia real fast. So I got to be honest, kind of what I think we're going to see tomorrow. I think Nvidia more than likely will come out with good quarterlies. Now, what is a good quarterly with Nvidia? Is it 47 million, 48 million? Yes, somewhere around there. Now, a really good quarterly with Nvidia, like jaw-dropping, would be somewhere in the high 48s, 49s. 50 would be like, holy smokes. Billion. Sorry, I said the wrong thing there. Billions for all those. So those millions would be devastating. We're talking about billions here. So that would be, if we were to see anything like 48 to 50, I mean, there's no way they're going past that. That's insane. There's no way. Jensen has already been saying here, like, essentially we can't make chips fast enough. We are trying to figure out how to make more chips, how to get these out there, because everyone's wanting them. And the thing is too, like, this is a whole new chip, that the Blackwell chip, what we have going out here. And why this could continue to progress, get more of a feeding frenzy, is because how soon until Nvidia just releases another new chip, until they go, maybe next year they go, okay, this is the new chip, it's even better. How much does this keep going here? And then guess what? Everyone's like, we want that chip. And plus, Nvidia has software too they make a lot of money off of. This is a really interesting situation. So tomorrow, at the most boring storyline that could possibly happen tomorrow, is that what we've kind of seen here in the past, the last two quarterlies, where Nvidia comes out with, okay, good quarterlies. This is enough to keep the market happy. The market starts to come back little by little here. Okay, great. The market is a lot more comfortable. We still see the demand. We still see, the Mag 7 running strong here. Everyone's happy. Maybe Nvidia sells down to like high 60s, middle 60s. Maybe it keeps 170, 180 zone. It's been here for a minute. But two, are we about to see where a lot of bulls in the market are saying we're going? Are we about to see the last 2 weeks of November clean up here, where the S&P burst into 7,000 points? Nvidia runs to 200 plus here. All the Mag 7s go crazy. The ones right under that are, the high tech stocks that are doing very well, like Palantir's, run. Palantir's right back in 180, 190, possibly more than that. And then maybe the market is doing so well here in, a short time frame to end out the year, that low cap stocks, especially low cap tech stocks, start to run again. I think that's a real possibility. What I do think that is a dangerous assumption right now for anyone in the market is to say, what's going to happen. Now, obviously, I just said that with the Nvidia storyline. But I do feel comfortable saying that's probably more than likely what we're looking at here. There's really no reports out there right now saying like Nvidia's not going to make it. There's nothing out there giving that conversation. That's not what we're seeing here. I mean, the Nvidia conversation is so ridiculous right now that even, from analyst to Jensen himself, the CEO of Nvidia, is saying like, we may not miss quarterlies for the next 5, plus years here. This is kind of just where we're at right now. We're not worrying about beating quarterlies. We're worrying about, can we get the product out there, because we're so backed up with these chips right now, because we're trying to figure out how to make more of them at a faster rate. That's really what is, going on right now. It's a very interesting thing what you're watching here in the market right now. I mean, this is something that our grandfathers didn't deal, our grandfathers' grandfathers didn't deal with in the market. If you come from a family line of investing, or maybe you're starting, a family tree of investing here, this is something that, is very unique and, very different in the market, where we have essentially this high Mag 7, but Nvidia is literally the one where everyone, they worry about it. You think it would be, Google, you think it would be even something like Amazon, but really Nvidia is that one. With this conversation, this isn't a conversation of where I'm trying to be bearish whatsoever. I still think I listen. I'm drinking the juice on the Mag 7. I'm drinking the juice on Nvidia. I think Nvidia. I believe what they say. I believe Jensen. Obviously they're going to be biased because of where they're at. Jensen is the CEO, but I definitely think that these people see what's going on. They see where the market is going. They see, Jensen talks about robotics a lot, and that's something that I'm very obsessed with what potentially is coming to the market here very soon. That's why I'm so bullish on Tesla. If Tesla was just making cars still, who would care? I mean, yeah, it would still be Tesla, but Tesla is about to go into this dominant space, and it's going to take a minute for Tesla to be able to pull off making cars, making robots, robotaxi, every little thing they do to make a buck. But this is why I'm very interested in Tesla. I'm interested in rich tech robotics because it's very futuristic. It's different. And this is where the conversation can go with Nvidia. They're always innovating. They're always doing more. And they're the leaders right now. Now, will they have competition, heavier competition here in the future? Obviously. AMD is doing amazing things right now, but Nvidia is just really, really ahead right now. And will they be beaten? I don't know. That's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people if Nvidia started to lack quarterlies right now. We're just not seeing anything with that. So yeah, that's how I feel about Nvidia, friends. Listen, I'm very bullish on it. I don't know where we're going to be next year stock price wise. To me, when we talk about Nvidia continuing to crush these quarterlies, nonstop every year, it is mathematically, it's very hard to understand that. It really is. You go like, really? Like, you think they're going to be at $60 billion here by the next year, or more? It really, it is. It's a very big picture, mathematically thing to understand. But, this is what we're being told. And you can either believe or not believe it. And, when Nvidia got rolling here, at the end of 2023, we're really going into 2024, and things really started to pick up into this 10 billion, 20 billion, 30, 40, 50, where we're at now. This is a whole new place that we have seen the market go. We've seen, stocks defy odds. Is Nvidia going to have another stock split in 3 to 4 years? I think Tesla's going to have probably 2 more stock splits in the next 10 years. I really do believe that. And a lot of people would disagree with that, but I think there's a lot about to happen here with, I'm on the day and I's camp. I really am. There's going to be people that don't want to hear that, but I really am. I don't think it's a matter of, I guess I'll say this, and this goes along with Big Bear too. I'm not scared about an AI bubble, because whatever this bubble does, it's just going to pop into a new tech bubble. This is it. Like, this is the future. It's tech. Whatever that looks like, from quantum computing to chips to software, security software to robotics, electric cars. It's tech. That's all that's left. As of right now, we know of nothing else by human hands that is going to take over the market. This is it. This is what the future of the market looks like. It is tech. So when we talk about a tech collapse, a bubble, okay, well, it's just going to pop into another bubble. Look at the Mag 7, for God's sakes. It's tech. Most of it is like tech. At Amazon, you can make an argument, but, majority of it, it's tech. Even Tesla, it's electric cars. It's tech. So this is where I the friends at the dinner table start, throwing things at me, because, I go like, okay, like, what do you want to say here? If there's a AI pop, a bubble, what does it pop into? Like those stocks are, and I get what people are saying, that stocks are highly overvalued, stuff like this. I get the argument, but it's not like some people think like, well, that's the end of society. The market's collapsing. Like, no, it's not. Like things are still gonna be happening here. I people get really doom and gloom on these conversations, and it's a really bad place to be mentally. So yeah, let's talk about Big Bear. So Big Bear had a good day. Big Bear was actually one of the few stocks in the market that had a pretty good day. It ran up back to the $6 position, and this was pretty encouraging, I thought. Listen, the fact that Big Bear is sticking out this market right now. Big Bear has had a lot harder days that it's had to deal with, and the fact that it's holding this position is really, really encouraging right now. I will say this, that with this Q3 that came out, this is such a defining moment for Big Bear right now, because we're seeing something. We're seeing that investors are sticking with Big Bear. And the main thing too with that is that, yes, Big Bear came out with just a slight better quarterly here than Q2. And that's really, I think, the hardcore people with Big Bear were at least hoping for. It's like taking your kid to sports and they just at least compete all the way and not quit and, break down and start crying. You're just like, okay, they at least gave us that. We got the picture in. But with Big Bear, it not only released that quarterly, I've talked about this obviously too, but, Kevin, released that statement in the memo of the quarterlies talking about, the big beautiful bill with Trump, more defense spending, border security, hinting that like, hey, we got some stuff coming up here. We can't really talk about it, but, this is, that. Why would he mention that? It's almost like, this is what's so funny about it. It's not obviously inside trading kind of stuff here. It's not what we're saying, but this was the biggest breadcrumb that he could leave to us right now as investors. And obviously, CEOs have to be careful because the FCC is watching them like hawks. They have to be careful what they say. Now, with this, with Kevin releasing this statement, it's like, okay, so they're obviously, at least at the slightest bit, relying that they are going to more than likely see more defense deals, whatever this looks like, with security, border, whatever that is. So this is great. I mean, this is something to look forward to coming into the new year here. And, too, with that, they just spent $250 million on this software to, extend their services, to make it better, stronger, to compete with the competition out there. This is a radically different company than last November. I mean, for the people that were here last November with Big Bear, and I remember talking about Big Bear last November when it was like $1.50, $2, and it's been a wild year. A lot of swing trades, a lot of push ups, a lot of downs, a lot of negative comments, a lot of positive comments with Big Bear. But I could have never imagined that this company would have such a clean out and just this capturing the deals that it has here. It's really a unique time. Listen, if Big Bear's ever going to work, this is it. This is the moment. We already know that there is a connection. There is sources in Big Bear connected to the Trump administration. We know that. Okay, we know that Kevin has prior history with that administration. Kevin himself, CEO of Big Bear, has a military background. There's no doubt in my mind why they're getting more defense deals, why they're pushing more into the security, essentially business with these airlines. This is what's going on. It's fantastic. And, this is really probably going to serve a lot of us very well into the future. I don't think this is the time to just go like, oh my God, the stock share is $5. Oh my God, I'm bag holding. I don't know that that's the right mental space. And people struggle with that, man. I get that. I get when people are like, I don't want to see red. I hate when I'm bag holding. I would listen, if you believe in Big Bear and you believe that Big Bear is going to do more here, and that, you're kind of picking up the breadcrumbs of what, we're seeing here with Big Bear, man, maybe this is going to work. That's kind of the real conversation that should be, we should be having here, that like, I think this is going to work. You know, I think Big Bear is actually going to do something here. I think we're gonna see it manifest some deals. You know, this is what we need to be looking at. So, you know, everything's down. Don't feel like you're doing something wrong. Don't feel like, man, I'm a loser. Man, why is my portfolio down? Everyone's portfolio is down. Now, some people were buying earlier, and you know they're holding on to some good positions, better positions. But you know, like I said, tomorrow will be really tell us what we're about to walk into. There's either going to be we're going to be left with this tomorrow around this time, or we're going to see the market have trillions of dollars shoved back into it within the next 48 hours to end out the week, this week in the market. So, friends, I wish all the best of luck, and we'll see what happens here. We're all going to sit here, sing kumbaya and hold hands, and I'm going to be on the positive side and say that Nvidia is going to do it again, and that we're going to see something good happen here. So, friends, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I really do mean that, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.